It's like having this big, beautiful engine and you throw a wrench in it, right? It's just not going to run properly. We need good stress management because if we're overly catabolic, overly in a stressed out state, producing too much cortisol, that cortisol is going to cause it to be catabolic. We're going to break down B vitamins. We're going to break down amino acids. We're going to break down the nutrients that were actually needed to run those pathways. So it's very important. We want to be anabolic, not catabolic. Anabolic's building up, healing, recovering. Catabolic means breaking down at a faster rate than you can recover and heal. So, of course, we kind of went over the big ones: glycolysis, the Krebs cycle / citric acid cycle, and then the electron transport chain. We talked about the ATP. ATP gets broken down to ADP. So ATP is adenosine triphosphate, and that they pull off a phosphate there. It makes it ADP, adenosine diphosphate 2. So we go from 3 to 2, and that phosphate is going to create energy, instantaneous energy. And so we talked about the different ways these toxins can impair it. So, of course, mold toxins, you're going to get these from water damage in your home or living in a home that previously had it. Again, it depends, right? Because if I have patients that are still in a moldy environment, it makes it a little bit harder to deal with it because the constant exposure is there. If they've left that environment and we know, okay, that the home they're in now is not moldy, then we can have different approaches to try to address that. And so we always want to look at, is there an active moldy environment? The next thing is we want to look at, are we eating organic? Because if we're eating a bunch of estrogenic foods or we're eating neurological toxins, because pesticides kill bugs pretty much two ways. They affect their reproductive capacity, so it's going to affect their hormones, or it affects their neurological capacity. And again, when you combine different pesticides and you cook them and all this stuff, there's a whole bunch of reactivity that we don't even know because, usually heat tends to speed up reactions and can make things more problematic. And so pesticides are a big one, especially the organochlorine pesticides or even things like Roundup or glyphosate. These are other types of pesticides as well. And then I would say after that, like I already mentioned, mold toxins, I already mentioned pesticides, and the other one's going to be your heavy metals. So heavy metals are going to play a major role in that. Mercury and lead are going to be the big two. We could also throw arsenic and cadmium in there, but mercury and lead are significant. And so with mercury and lead, they're also synergistic. So you can do like the lethal number. So the lethal number is you line up 100 rats and you feed the rats a little bit of mercury. And you say, okay, when the first rat dies, that's kind of your lethal dose, right? That's what kills 1% of the rats, this dose. Then you do the same thing for lead. You take 100 new rats, you parse it out, the lead, you dose it up. Okay, one rat dies. Okay, that's your lethal dose for lead. Now, you get 100 new rats, no exposure to these chemicals, and you feed them 1% of the mercury that killed, 1% of the lead that killed. Guess how many rats actually survive that? Actually, they all die because the synergistic effects of these metals.